This is the Andrew Walsh podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen. I really appreciate it. I'm praying you can take away something from this episode that brings value to your life. Make sure to subscribe to my podcast to stay up to date with the latest episodes, and please share with a friend if you feel you're getting something out of these episodes. You can also follow me on Instagram at @A_Walsh. Let's fire it off. All right, what's going on, everybody? I got an amazing guest on the Andrew Walsh podcast today. His name is Jordan Jones. He is someone I've noticed in my gym and truly admire. Not only you can always tell how disciplined someone is just from their physical body, but I watch how he talks to other people and other members in the gym and gives advice, and is just such an energetic and great person to be around. I thought he'd be a perfect person for today's podcast. So Jordan, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. Every day is a good day.
Every day is a good day. Well, guys, I want to get into today's podcast. We're talking a lot about fitness and training. And today I just want to go ahead and start with a prayer. For those of you who have been listening to my podcast, know I always start with a prayer. If you're new or a first-time listener, maybe you're not spiritual at all, just know I'm going to be pouring out blessings over you. So if you want to receive some blessings, go ahead and join Jordan and I in a quick prayer. Father God, thank you so much for this wonderful day that you have blessed us with, God. Just the fact that we're here today tells me that there's something you want us to do. You have some big things still planned for us in this lifetime. I'm praying, God, that you bless Jordan and I's conversation, that you completely guide where it goes, and that somebody who's listening today really takes away something incredibly valuable that will positively impact their life. I'm praying not only for Jordan's family and friends and for him, but for everyone who's listening, God, that you bless our listeners today with favor, increase, abundance, good breaks, blessings out of nowhere. And in your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. So Jordan, you've been working, to give the audience here a little context, because maybe people aren't watching on YouTube, they're just listening. I don't think they understand how big you really are. So how tall and how much do you weigh right now? And where were you when you started?
So right now I'm currently 6 foot and I'm usually 235 in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah.
I just turned 30. So I've pretty much been working out for about 20 years now. So
Wow.
2 decades. When I was a kid, I was always kind of a little bit bigger. As far as like I get my growth spurt really fast. Like my freshman year I was already 5'9", like 160 pounds. So I would always dabble with some weights because some of my friends that were neighbors would have like dumbbells and stuff in their garage, and we thought it was really cool. But really where I took a really big turn to just get kind of almost obsessed with just the human body and how it changes and nutrition and everything. I was in 8th grade. So what is that like? I was probably 13 or 14 at the time.
Yeah.
And I used to ride the school bus. So on the school bus, so, you have your little cliques. So I would always hang out with these 2 girls in the back since they live right down the street from me. Really close all throughout middle school and high school. And so in 8th grade, you ever remember those skateboard pants they were called crew pants?
Oh,
they're like
definitely.
stretchy.
Yes.
They're super tight. Like, yeah. I don't think a guy should wear that. so I was a little chunkier. I didn't know, but I was a little chunkier and I would wear those. And I remember specifically to this day saying, those pants really suit your curves. So literally from that day, from when I was 13 or 14, I started dieting, trying to figure it all out. Everyone, when they start dieting, they don't know what the hell they're doing at all.
Yeah.
I would eat like an apple and I would consider that, okay, that's one of my meals. Then 2 hours later, I'd have like some yogurt. I'm like, yeah, that's another meal. Like I can't really eat. So, everyone goes through all those trials and errors. And, it actually is funny because of her, I got so into the body. I went to school for a little bit for it, and I've always been in the industry. I started in the industry when I was 17.
Wow.
So since her, I've made it a career, and it's my passion. So
oh my gosh,
it's kind of one of those like double-edged things where it's like, all right, like that was really mean, I really took that personal, but if it wasn't for you, heck, I don't know if I would be doing this today.
Right. Well, and I think too, it's a great story and I appreciate you sharing. And it's so funny. You're 30 years old now and you still remember that from like 13 or
Yeah.
14. But I think sometimes too, if it's like a peer or a close friend and maybe they do kind of, do a little jab at you, sometimes you need those because people can praise you,
Oh,
compliment you
yeah.
all day, but are you really going to grow? It's not until somebody's really upfront and honest with you, maybe checks you
Right.
or and I know kids at that age, we don't always have the best filters as adults. We're always like, yes, very nice,
Yeah.
very nice. So
There's different
that's
ways to say it.
I think the world is a better place from her having said that because you've gone on to help so many different people with their physique goals. One of the things that, so I wanted to talk to you, just I'm personally curious about is you do have a very good, like a classic physique. You see a lot of these bodybuilders today, and I think it's too much. I think you have a little bit more of that, Lou Ferrigno, Arnold, classic bodybuilding. Can you take me in, Jordan, when you're working out? What are you thinking about? Like, are you visualizing looking like a certain person, or like what's going through your mind when you're actually doing your sets?
I honestly don't really, and I know a lot of people usually get inspiration from a lot of other people on a daily basis. I've never really been one of those people that just like I have to have someone there to really motivate me. I'm very like self-driven.
Mhm.
Yeah, like sure, like I'll watch like a motivational video or maybe a song really like triggers something. Everyone has their little things. But when I go in, I honestly am just looking at just killing my workout, and not half-assing it because that's not going to yield results. You always have to push yourself farther than you did every single workout. So I honestly just go in there on the mindset of I'm just going to kill this workout. I get in the zone. That's why sometimes, you see me with the Dre beats and I might look really mean, but no, I'm just like super focused in the
Yeah.
zone, trying to stay in the zone. And, since I compete, that is a motivational piece for me, so I have this Saturday, it will be 16 weeks, 15 weeks from my first show of this season. So, that's always going to be in the back of my head. So let's say maybe like a little bit extra tired if I'm doing deadlifts or something's like a little extra tight, I'm not feeling it, that'll play in the back of my head. And that's enough of the fire I need to be like, well, today I didn't get a good workout. I know someone else is, so I'm not going to have that.
Yeah.
I try to make everything count.
Every
So
rep
I do
counts.
it a little bit differently maybe than some other people, but everyone has their own kind of motivational cue.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I'm just trying to see, maybe somebody's listening to this right now and they don't compete, but they're trying to improve their physique. So
Right.
for you, it's maybe that end goal. Well, I have a competition, I have to show up. So maybe for people who is listening, maybe you have like a vacation or something coming up where you can kind
100%.
of put an end point. So on those
Yep.
days, maybe it is a little bit harder. Or
Yep.
hey, by this upcoming spring,
Yep.
setting a date future oriented, so when you're training in that day it might be hard, but you're training towards the future.
Right. And that's actually exactly, and for any other people that are in the fitness industry, whether you do supplements or working out, or heck, if it's even for you, I'll use that also. So let's say you want to become a client or you have some questions. I always ask like, well, why? Why do you want to
Mm,
lose the weight? Or why do you want to gain the weight? Are you getting married? Do you have like a honeymoon? Or are you just sick and tired of the way you look now because you looked better 30 pounds ago? Like everyone is doing it for a reason. So what I try and do is, let's say you come to me and you really don't know why. I try and kind of make a reason for you to want to get to that point. So
mm,
it'll keep you basically constantly motivated when you're having those bad days, because everyone has a
yeah.
bad day. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're doing, everyone has a bad day or a
Yeah.
little bit more of a rough day. So I always try and find some kind of goal. That way they're self motivated and they're always knowing why they're basically doing it. Because on a weekly basis, you're not always going to make a change. Heck,
Yeah.
sometimes like I'll be the same exact weight for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, you don't
Wow.
think I get frustrated too? It's like, no, but that's a part of the process. So the most
Yeah.
important thing is you want to stay consistent and you just know that you're looking for the future. It's like, well, I have another 5 months before my honeymoon or whatever it is. Like, I got to keep doing this. And then eventually it always comes.
Yeah. No, I think that's great because I think a word that's in the fitness industry we'll hear a lot is like a plateau, like, oh, I'm really plateauing right now. And I definitely can admit that I felt like I was doing that a lot towards the end of this past year. And I felt just waking up so early, I was pretty tired by the end of the year. But I didn't have any set like, oh, I need to be a certain this by a certain that. So I would just go in the gym, really give it all I got. But I think having a desired goal.
Motivation.
So what I did is I literally just went on Amazon and I ordered a measuring tape. So I just pulled up like
Okay.
Callum von Mager and Arnold Schwarzenegger. They had their measurements, because I'm like, listen, and I took my measurements. I had my wife help me out, and I
Yeah.
jotted them down and I dated them. And I said, okay, in 2 months, I'm gonna check and see, where my
Yeah.
progress is. And Jordan, literally just that alone, I'm now when I'm working out, I'm imagining, okay, 22 I have like a metric of where they need to be. And I feel like it's really helped me kind of break through that
The
plateau. And
plateau,
I
basically.
know,
Yeah.
especially a lot of listeners on this podcast, it is male, but I think this is even for female too.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
curious, what are some strategies? I know it's some like high school football players and stuff. If they're trying to gain weight or put on muscle mass, I know there's no like three perfect tips, but like what are maybe some strategies you would give? Somebody's trying to bulk up and put on some more muscle.
I mean, the simplest thing, which is you really have to take it with a grain of salt, but the easiest way to really explain it is you want to lose weight, you got to be at a deficit of
Mhm.
calories. Okay. You want to bulk up, you should be at a surplus. That is like the easiest cookie cutter way to do it.
Great.
Now, everybody's body is different. So let's say I design a surplus for you because let's say you want to put on 5, 10 pounds or whatever, going into football season, or because you used to do cross country. Let's say you're trying to get ready for, you know, hurdles or something. I need to put on a couple like, extra pounds. Okay, cool. What may work perfect for you may be the worst thing in the world for me. So
Yeah.
one, the big thing is most people aren't trying to figure out what works for their body. That's usually the worst thing because there's so many fad diets out there, and the industry is great, but it's really bad because there is money in it, and there's so many people that don't know what they're doing. They're going to be exposed, which kind of is unfair. So the best thing is really like whatever diet you're doing, whether you have more carbs than fats or more protein than either one, or however you're doing it, is you really like you're saying is like you jot down notes, right? So always jot down notes. Oh, I had a meal and it sat in my stomach for an extra 3 hours. Like I'm still really like full on bloated. Okay, it's probably not agreeing with your body, even though someone told you to eat it,
Yeah.
right? So make all of those assessments so and learn your body because it's really not rocket science.
Yeah.
You know, other than a deficit or a surplus, honestly, like a good rule of thumb is eat every like 2 or 3 hours. It doesn't have to be an actual huge meal. It could be something simple as I've given some clients like, hey, just have a serving of non-fat like Greek yogurt. Have like 20 grams of almonds.
Yeah.
At least you're getting your fats. You're getting some protein. It's more of like a snack, right? But your body's gonna want that. That way you're as anabolic as possible and not catabolic, which means it's a muscle wasting phase, right?
Yeah.
So how our body works is it's constantly going. So we just need to fuel it properly.
Okay.
So best advice
Perfectly.
is honestly just eat every couple hours. Maybe try and if you're only getting 2 meals in right now, start off slow. So if you're doing 2 meals, maybe bump it up to 3 and do that a little bit until you get used to it. Bump it up to 4 and etc. It doesn't matter if you're bulking or cutting. I'm always usually eating 6 or 7 meals. The
Okay.
only thing that's going to change whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight is honestly just the macros. So via protein, carbs, or fats.
Okay. That was perfect. I love your answer right there. And I think that's an easy, like if I'm in football or if I'm just trying to, and personally I am trying to put on some weight, put on
Okay.
muscle every 2 to 3 hours eating, maybe it's yogurt, some almonds. I'm curious, Jordan, what are your thoughts like getting like one of those meals being liquid or from a shake or smoothie, or do you prefer food versus supplements, or is this still kind of thing? It depends on the
Honestly,
person.
like I don't really think it matters.
Yeah.
Like I'm bulking right now. Sometimes, like, yeah, I'll be like 5 meals in. I'm like, crap, I have another 1 or 2 meals. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to actually physically sit here and eat this right now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll just make a shake.
Okay.
And not a shake where it's like, oh, I'll just have like just a protein powder. It's like you can make your own actual shakes. So sometimes I'll do like 8 ounces of egg whites with a scoop of protein, a couple servings of oatmeals and some fruit and some peanut butter. That way I'm getting my protein, carbs, and fats. It's going to be nice and slow digesting. It's not going to be too heavy on my stomach. I can get it down quickly.
Okay.
So shakes are, I really don't think, whether it's a shake or an actual meal that you actually have to sit down and eat, I don't think it matters much, at least for my body.
Okay. Okay. Another question that I just kind of thought of, you had talked about it a little bit earlier, because I know you're training for your competition, but if you gave me just like in general, do you work out like 2 times a day or 1 time? And do you set a timer like, hey, I only have an hour to work out? Or do you kind of go until, I know it's kind of a loaded question. Like, so question one would be, how many days do you work out in a week? And part two of that question would be, in that workout, how long are those workouts typically?
So that's also the kind of thing, is you also want to listen to your body, right? So sometimes you may, like before we start the podcast, are you saying,
Today.
like you're going to do legs today, but you're a little bit more fatigued, so you're just going to do it tomorrow.
And this is,
That's actually
folks,
going to be
for
way more
because
beneficial.
Jordan killed me yesterday in the gym and my back is so sore. So that is why I took a rest day today. And I will fully boast and say, yes, I rested today on a day I was supposed to go to the gym. I listened to my body.
See, and that's going to be way more beneficial, because rest is really the only time your body is reconstructing and growing, right?
Yeah.
So if you were stubborn and went to the gym, it may have been more detrimental to you. You may
Yeah.
have not gained the weight that you're actually looking for. You may kind of recede. So we'll change it up, honestly, depending on how I look. So I don't know if this is going to make sense for anybody, but you kind of want a fresh look. Like, you don't want to look like you're just worn out. Like, have you ever gone like a whole week with basically getting like no sleep, like 2-3 hours every single night, and you look tired, like your body looks tired?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Doing
So
all
we're
those
trying to get it so my
thirty
body
30s.
doesn't look worn out.
Yeah, oh, I've seen it where I'll look in the mirror. I'm like, man, what are those under my eyes? I look like a raccoon, man.
So usually what we've been doing, I met up with this coach, Abbas Katami, last pretty much the very tail end of 2020. So last year was our first season together. So what we've been doing as far as workout splits is we do like a 3-day on, 1 day
Mhm.
off split. Okay.
Okay.
So 3 days, I'm pretty much hitting all my body parts, and I'll have a rest day. And so it just goes in a cycle of that: 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. Right now, since I'm trying to gain weight and I do stay a little bit more lean, he took out cardio completely about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So right now, I'm actually only getting one training session a day.
Okay.
Usually, though, especially during prep, we'll still follow a 3-1 split, but I'll get 2 sessions in a day. So we'll break it up. I'll do like cardio, maybe some ab work in the morning, fasted, and then I'll actually get my weight training in the afternoon. So as far as like the times and everything, it can depend. But as far as I spend about an hour and 15, maybe like an hour and 20 in the gym on a daily basis, if it's not like off season right now. So really not that long. You don't need to be for 2 or 3 hours. That's honestly just ridiculous. You're just being in there to be there at that point.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's great. I try to do an hour 10 minutes in my sessions. I'm probably a 2 days on, 1 day off, but I think
Which
what you're
is
doing is great though too. So of those 3 days on, 1 day off, what if, say for example, it's supposed to be workout 3 and you're a little sore? Would you still go on that day and stick to that 3-1, or would you rest that day and then, okay, well now I'm gonna kind of change it up? I'm curious what you personally do.
Yeah, so now that's going to be a little bit more of a gray area, right? So let's say you are going in the gym, you're a little sore, but it's not affecting your performance at all. I don't know. Let's say you did like hamstrings yesterday and you did a lot of like RDLs or straight leg deadlifts or whatever, and your lower back is a little bit sore and you have back today. Like, well, crap, I have a lot of rows. Like, I don't know how this is going to work.
Mm,
If you can do your back workout and with all the same weights and same intensity and everything, you're fine. Go to the gym. Stop being a baby. Now it's different where if you're sore and you get to the gym and let's say you try and do like a bent over row and you have like, let's say 2 plates on, but you're so sore to the point where it's like, oh, I can only do 1 plate on each side. That means you should probably not work out because you are going to be overtraining because your muscles are that fatigued.
Got it.
So it honestly is going to depend on the severity.
Oh, I love it. I think what you kind of alluded to there, if I'm getting this right too, is almost just showing up, kind of test a little bit and see how you're feeling that day. Because you can always adjust. I mean, if you're at the gym, maybe you're like, okay, set one, I already know I'm pretty sore. I'm already here. Maybe I can just stretch. I can do some abs. Maybe I can do some bands or something like that that aren't as bad,
And that's what I
for
do.
where I'm
Like
at.
if I have like if I'm just bored or something like that, I'm like, all right, like I'm gonna take today off. Maybe I'll just go and get some stretching in, maybe a little bit of light cardio, nothing like super intense, but at least getting some blood flow into the body and stretching. That way it's actually going to be almost like an active rest day. So it's actually going to help you recover better.
I love it. All right. One other question for you, Jordan. I'm curious about because I'm always trying to figure out like how to get extra meals like every 2 to 3 hours. Do you mind sharing like just give me like what you ate yesterday or what you're planning to eat today? Like what are some of those foods that you're eating that are high in protein or good in fat? I mean, even if they're like cheat meals or any, I'm just kind of
No,
curious.
mine's yeah, my he makes me spend a lot of money on food. So I'm eating well right now. So honestly, I don't expect most people to spend this much money on food. It's definitely over $1,000 a month. But usually like okay, my meals will always have protein, carbs, and fats in it, pretty much.
Okay.
So in the morning, steak, toast, eggs. If I work out after that, which I normally do, the next meal will be just a post-workout shake, which is going to be something really fast-acting. So I'll have my whey protein with, I know it sounds ridiculous, but cereal. So I'll do usually like a Rice Krispie or like a Fruity Pebbles. So that way it's your insulin really quick. So I'll do basically a concoction for my post-workout. You can always make a shake, that's fine too. After that, usually I'll do chicken with some olive oil, some rice. After that, it's going to be salmon rice, some olive oil. And then after that, it's going to be 2 peanut butter jelly sandwiches with some protein. And then after that, again, it's going to be, I usually just make a shake for the very last one if I'm like really full from all the fats.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I eat a lot of fats right now and a
Yeah.
lot
No.
of expensive food. So you don't really have to do that because it is pricey.
No, I think that's great. I think because even say, for example, you're not going to be doing like the 6 or 7 meals a day, but now I know, well, I could be doing a little bit of salmon with rice for dinner or a chicken and rice for dinner. Now I have some different options. So I'm curious, why the cereal? You said something about spike insulin after your workout. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, that kind of stuff, unless someone's like a little bit more intermediate and advanced, like for anyone that's kind of newer in the scene, like you don't really have to worry about it too much. Probably, you probably have a lot of other stuff to figure out before you get into that. But when you do work out, you are releasing ATP. That's an energy pathway during your workout. That's why you'll see people taking creatine, okay, or maybe some kind of intra workout shake. Now, along that, when you're working out, you're depleting your insulin. Okay, so after a workout, when your insulin's depleted, you need something to spike your insulin, something that's very fast. And so, what are some kind of fast digesting sources? It would be either white rice or a simple sugar, like apple juice or literally sugar. You can even do like a white potato. So, any of those like high glycemic indexes are going to raise your insulin. So the reason why you do that after a workout is because it's going to help to like the delivery system of nutrients to the muscle. So treat it as a sense of it's just going to help aid in muscle recovery and repair after a workout.
Wow, that was great. I mean, that's eye-opening and good education. I think even if somebody is a novice, it's kind of good to know post-workout how important that kind of window is. I kind of was gonna wrap us up around today, but I want to ask like one last question, Jordan, for anybody who's maybe listening to this, they're getting into workout. or like, I'm curious the advice you would give to somebody if they're trying to create their dream body, as far as like patience and like, because we live in that society, like I want it now, or I
Yeah.
would expect this today, and it
Trust
can
me,
be
I
a
do too.
little frustrating, you know, like what are some realistic expectations if somebody's really trying to transform their body, or any advice you would just give to somebody in fitness who's trying to improve?
I mean, honestly, realistically, as you just stated, like it's not an overnight thing. Especially for beginners, like you're gonna get some crazy results your first couple months just because it's so new. You know, even if you take like if I took a month off, I'm gonna lose some weight and I'll go back in and I'll blow right back up. So
Yeah.
at first you are gonna gain a lot of weight, but or a lot of muscle, I'd rather say. Um, but just know that it will come to a screeching halt. So honestly, the best advice is be as freaking consistent as possible. It's not like a weekday thing and take the weekends off. You know, it's really an everyday thing because it's a lifestyle. It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like don't get me wrong, like you don't have to be a saint, you don't have to be perfect every day in, day out, and like live and breathe this. Like I would say stick to like a 90-10 rule. Or if you have a really hard time, like maybe an 80-20, where it's like, okay, let's say I'm having 5 meals a day. I'm going to do 4 really good meals and make sure that I get those in first, and then I'm going to have a bad meal. Okay.
Okay.
And eventually your body's not even going to want that because honestly, it will make you feel like crap because your body just won't digest it. So honestly, be as consistent as possible with the meals and the training. That is, I know it sounds very cliche because everyone probably always says that, but that it's the God's honest truth. Be as consistent with your meals, your sleep, and your training as possible. And I promise you will actually see results. Now, along that, honestly, just I want everyone to actually try and learn their bodies because no one ever says that. I never hear anyone say, oh, you should really learn your body. Probably because no one's like, what do you mean learn my body? Like, I only have one body. It's
Yeah.
more of a sense is like take the notes. Like if you're going to like the freaking for guys that are probably listening, if you're going to the freaking hardware store to buy a car, you're gonna go in there aimless. Like no, you're probably gonna get bamboozled or you're gonna get annoyed. So do your research on your own body. It's the same exact thing. Before you go to the store, you're gonna be like, I need this tool. I really want this tool. I'm gonna make these shelves cool. You're gonna go there. You're gonna buy it easy peasy. Same thing with their body. Learn your body, take down the notes, things that aren't agreeing with your body. Maybe it gives you the runs, maybe it digests really quick. Jot all that kind of stuff down, make your own little log. And honestly, I don't do it, but a lot of people also have a workout log so you can see your progress. Sometimes that's motivation enough for people like, oh crap, I went 10 pounds on like the bench press in a week and I'm consistent at it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So just always jot everything down. That's the best thing because next time that diet that may have worked really well for you, it's most likely not going to do the same thing whatsoever. So you're going
Wow.
to constantly have to change things. So you should know your body.
Man, Jordan, this was great today. I think, hopefully definitely bring you back on. I know you have
Yeah,
another
whatever.
testimony and
I'm glad
story
for
to
having me.
share outside of fitness, but as far as like for action packed, podcasts today, just back and forth, you delivered, man. So for people, I know I'm gonna post this. Obviously, it'll be on Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. So if people want to get in touch with you, like Instagram, is that a good
Yeah.
way? And
Yeah. Instagram's probably the best. I am a little bit newer to IG. I'm a lot older than 30, I feel like. So yeah, it's just Jordan Jones Fit. So first
okay.
and last name Fit, nice and simple. You can go ahead and DM me if you have any questions or if you actually need some help. I do one-on-one in person. I do, if you live far away, I do Zoom, or I will actually do workout plans and diet plans if you're more advanced and just need a little bit of help. So go ahead and DM me. That's the best way. And if it's one of those things where you're interested in becoming either a client or someone that just needs some guidance, maybe I'll just give you my number. That'll be the second best way.
Yeah, I think guys definitely take advantage of this, or at least ask Jordan questions. I consider myself a huge workout enthusiast. I've been working out probably since I was, 8 years old. And even yesterday in the gym, Jordan showed me one simple tweak to like engage my scapula. And I literally couldn't even go to the gym today because I'm so sore from one little thing, and it's crazy. So That's why I really rely on Jordan to push me and show me different things as well. Jordan, can't thank you enough for your time today. Everybody as well,
It was
thank you
awesome.
for
Yeah.
listening and tuning in. Go give Jordan a follow, shoot him a message too of encouragement if you like what he had to say. And that's it for the Andrew Walsh podcast. Thank you again, Jordan. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
All right, brother. You have the best
All
day.
right,
Take care,
everyone.
everybody.